Hey, what's going on, everybody? The San Jose Sharks have reportedly traded with the Florida Panthers, getting winger Anthony Duclair in exchange for Steven Lorentz, in a trade that absolutely nobody saw coming. We were talking about maybe Anthony Duclair to the Calgary Flames, Noah Hannafin, and maybe one of the other veteran defensemen the other way. But this is exciting as a Sharks fan. We actually get a bona fide top six winger, or at least middle six winger, to go alongside some of our veteran talent out there, maybe to hopefully kind of fill that gap while we wait for some of the younger talent to develop. So more information on this coming in just a little bit, but thank you so much for joining us. I am a Sharks fan, but I welcome you no matter whichever team you cheer for in the NHL. But yeah, I'm stoked because it's been a while since we could be excited about some sort of acquisition like this. So hello, everybody. Hey, Mike's here. Mike actually broke the news. Mike broke the news. So thank you, Mike, for doing that. Of the Twisted Wrister hockey community. Samantha, Jay-Z, how we doing? And of course, Rails, as always. Thanks for hopping in here, guys. Hey, let's take a look at this deal a little bit more. I'm going to pull up my my screen here. We can find it on Twitter. And actually, Twitter finally started working for me again. I've been without it basically the whole day. So yeah, this is a really good trade for the San Jose Sharks in that they're not giving up all that much. Who is coming back to the Sharks? So it's straight up Anthony Duclair for Steven Lorentz and a 2025 fifth round selection. That's great. Duclair was even at a pretty friendly deal as well. So we'll take a look at the trade. We'll take a look at the Sharks cap situation as well. Thank you, Samantha. I don't know why I keep saying Sam. Maybe because I'm thinking about my buddy Sam all the way in Singapore. I haven't seen him in years. Mine's still broken. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, I don't know what triggered it to load my content back. But yeah, you guys can see it right here. We have a trade to announce. Look at that. Anthony Duclair. And actually, oh, never mind. So yeah, it's for Steven Lorentz and a 2025 fifth round selection. That's great for the Sharks. So Duclair is at 27 years old. He's still in the prime of his career. He had a bit of a hard season last year. I mean, he's had bumps and bruises throughout his career, but especially this last year where he had, of course, he had a torn Achilles going into the year. He missed a lot of time. He was slow to come back. He didn't look like the Duclair of old, but then he started to put it together. Looking at the second round against the Leafs and especially against the Hurricanes, he came on pretty strongly there. So he only played 20 games this past year, but this guy in transition can be one of the more exciting players in the NHL, especially on a breakaway. I think that he's got some of the best moves out there. So personally, I'm thrilled about this. This makes us a little bit more exciting this next year. Granted, we still are completely 100% tanking. Let's not get it twisted, or shall we? But man, this will make games a little bit better to stomach. I don't care how bad he is on defense or anything like that. The guy has some great electric capabilities out there. You saw it the year before with those President's Trophy winning Panthers, putting up 31 goals in 74 games. Of course, he played with some really good talent around him. Not going to be quite the same in San Jose, but even so, I mean, like Logan Couture, he's been with like ECHLers practically the last couple of years on his wings. If he can pair up with the Duke, that'll be great for Cooch. All right. Feel bad for Oscar Lindblom, Lawrence's best friend. Sometimes I even forget that Lindblom is on the team, honestly. A good old hockey trade. Yeah, I'm so happy to see something like this go down. Pens just made another trade too. Okay. Should I check their Twitter or should I check somebody else's? Because now apparently I got to be sensitive with like how many feed posts I'm accessing. What's for dinner tonight? I haven't decided it just yet. I was literally going to shower up. I just exercised, and I was going to go to the store and just pick up something quick before I head out on my road trip tomorrow morning. And then this happened, thanks to Mr. Thompson here. All right. So, I mean, all of you are returning, but if anybody's new here, we do streams like this occasionally, and I put out videos covering the off season, both on this channel and also on our second channel, Sudden Death Hockey. You can see that in the video description down below. I can actually share that with you on my screen here so you can see what that looks like. The Penguins have signed forward Joona Koppanen to a 2-year contract. I don't know who that is. Let's see here. Who should I check here? Friedman, Sarah Valley? I'm going to check Sarah Valley because he's the one I saw who tweeted about this Duclair trade. But yeah, I am very intrigued to see what trade the Florida Panthers have up their sleeves. I mean, Duclair is not, a throwaway player by any means, but if they need that in order to augment their defense going forward, like how they actually defend, then I could see that happening. And that's been talked about the last couple of weeks. Heyo, what's going on? How you doing there, Dustin? Quick only got 800K. Yeah, for the most part, but I don't know if I want him to be the number 2 there, I don't know how much he still has left in the tank. You don't want to exhaust Shesterkin so much, do you? Thoughts on the Kings signing Talbot? Well, you're gonna have to keep me posted here, Rails, because if he's their backup, I think that's fair. But who's their number 1 goaltender now, right? Because they don't have Korpisalo. He's off in Columbus or Ottawa, excuse me. And they don't have Peterson anymore because the Flyers have taken on his contract. You had ribs. Oh my God, I haven't had ribs forever. Man, I better go find some good ribs for 4th of July. That would be a good idea. Bertuzzi? Yeah, I've been talking to a couple of let's go Duke, welcome to the Bay. Exactly. I'm happy, man. But yeah, I was talking to some Hurricanes fans and we were thinking, well, geez, the Hurricanes, they should have gotten Bertuzzi. But the thing is that maybe he was asking for too much term or something like that. I do like the Bunting move for Carolina, but even so, it would have been better. Can we see Cortana? I can't really show her right now. All my stuff is hardwired. I can't turn on the Cortana cam right now, though. I just got this stream up and running as quickly as I could. But catch you later, Rails. Riley to the Preds for 4 years. Kind of scratching my head in the sense that, here they have completely overhauled their roster, right? The only kind of older players left over from, previous runs are, Forsberg. He's not even that old. He's like 28. Yossi, 33, I want to say. And Saros. And that's kind of about it in Sissons, right? If we're talking about, everybody on the roster. But yeah, I'm surprised that after making this trade with Johansson and also, of course, recently buying out Matt Duchene, and that's why you guys should follow Sudden Death Hockey if you haven't already, because I talked about that yesterday on that channel. I am surprised that they decided to go in this specific direction. I don't know if they want to be competitive while O'Reilly can still contribute, but I'm a huge O'Reilly fan. One of my favorite players in the NHL, an exceptional leader, excellent defensively. He's always been the Bergeron of the Western Conference for a lot of his career. I personally think he should get Hall of Fame consideration if he's able to, for example, win another Stanley Cup. He has a Conn Smythe, right? But yeah, I think that the Preds are lucky to have him. I'm a big Barry Trotz fan as well. So Nashville is climbing up among my favorite teams in the NHL. And I definitely like Nashville itself. It's a fun place. Let's see here. But yeah, hey, Cortana, all the viewers say hi. You want here? Let's see if we can get Cortana over here. Come on. Come here, sweetie. Come on. All right, let's see if we can get her up here. Ready? Oh, there's a good girl. There she is. Here's Cortana. Everybody say hi. What a good girl. All right, here you go. Oh, she's excited. We're going to do some hiking over the next few days. That could speed up the rebuild. Maybe it depends, because how is and I'll get to your question here, Mike. But looking at the Sharks cap situation right now, okay, they got $5.6 million left. I don't think they're entirely done, but maybe the bulk of their moves, unless Karlsson gets moved, right? So here we have Jacob Peterson. Okay, so everybody's under contract here. Zetterlund at 1.45. I wasn't a huge fan of his, but he did some good stuff in New Jersey in a small sample size. But yeah, Duclair is only under contract for 1 year at $3 million, and then he'll be a UFA. So I don't think the Sharks are probably targeting to sign him beyond that, just given it's going to take more time for them to actually get good. And by the time they're actually good, Duclair would probably kind of stall in his production, given where he is in his career. But I wouldn't count it out entirely. Penelope, there you are. Are you Penelope or Roberto? I don't know. PR. I'll just call you PR. The Wings are cup contenders after. Okay. I gotta get to Mike's question first. The Jari signing. I don't mind the cap hit but I think 5 years is too long. I'm not saying that he can't be good in 5 years. I just think that I don't know. I got to see this team actually do some damage in the postseason with him being a key contributor in that. So I think it's a little bit too much, but again, the AAV is not what I'm concerned about. So yeah, the Red Wings. Let's take a gander at them. And we still haven't heard any big updates on the DeBrincat front. So whoa, holy God, they spent some money, didn't they? And look at that draft capital. They still have that all together. So today they get themselves JT Compher. JT Compher's been excellent for the Avalanche. He's been a really good value for them. I do think this is a little bit much of a deal. If it were for 3 years at $5 million, I think JT could live up to that. So to me, it is a bit steep. I'm surprised that Yzerman, went that long term with his deal. But I wish him all the luck. I really like him. Except you got to be thinking that the Avalanche fans are pretty pissed off right now. Let's see here. Who else did they get? They did sign Klim Shady, 2 years at $2 million. I like how he played with the Oilers. So I'm cool with that. 1 year for Daniel Sprong, 27 goal season for him. I think that's a great buy. And let's see here. Who else is on that list? Oh, they got Gostisbehere. You sneaky son of a gun, Stevie. $4 million. That's basically what he got last year. And he was great. He was a third pairing defenseman for the Hurricanes, and he quarterbacked the second unit power play. I liked his game quite a bit. Okay. Interesting. Do you think they're pushing for the playoffs then? I mean, because all the Red Wings fans were telling me that they shouldn't trade for Karlsson, and I'm like, well, you're getting some veterans here. It looks like you're loading up for something. Since when did they get Ghost? Yeah, I have no idea. Riley, hey, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us here. Let me know your thoughts so far on free agency and the trade so far. Did the Knights pay too much for Adin Hill? You know what? I wouldn't really say that they paid too much. The guy played exceptionally well in the playoffs. I know that obviously his career before then was up and down, but for what he's done, the good thing is that you're only doing it for 2 years. And as long as you hang on to Logan Thompson, I don't think that they can do too wrong by that, honestly. So I don't think that that's all that bad. Yeah, since when did they get Ghost? I was like, wait, what? The Habs need to sign somebody? Yeah, what are they up to? The only thing I know from today is the Joel Edmondson trade. I mean, I do like that they got a third rounder back, considering Edmondson only had 1 year left on his contract. But their draft capital looks really good. Look at that. And let's see here. Yeah, so like no buyout or anything like that for Mike Hoffman. But yeah, the forward group looks pretty much the same with the exception of Newhook. Best of luck. I hope that it kind of turns into a Kirby Doc story. Let's see here. Matheson, Savard, Harris, Barron, Gooley, Kovacevic. Yeah, I don't know too much about him. But yeah, the goaltending still remains the same as well. And somehow, yeah, you have these contracts on injured reserve as well. Okay. Yeah, they've been really quiet, haven't they? At least since the draft. What kind of player is Steven Lorentz? He's a big forechecker, typical fourth liner. I don't see a whole lot of offensive upside with him. But I don't have anything to complain about, honestly. I think that culturally, he's a good fit too. He's really liked by the players in the locker room. And that goes all the way back to Carolina. So he played himself to that contract. Yeah, I think that's fair, right? Sorokin got a long-term deal? Oh my goodness. Let's take a look at this one. I got to see it to believe it. Yeah. 8 by 825. So after Carey Price, does that make him the highest paid goaltender in the NHL? I mean, look, I know I talked about Jari earlier, but to me, he's pretty damn awesome. He is. I mean, maybe 7.5 annually on an 8-year deal, maybe so. But you can take a look here, right? There's no special terms to that deal. And not to mention, they signed Varlamov for 4 years. The guy's 35 years old. Are you kidding me? Oh, wow. I mean, he continues to still play great though. Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of bigger contracts today. You see the contract values this year, they've already, I think, gone up versus where they've been in previous years because of that salary cap rising potentially 3.5, 4, $5 million next year. All right. Let's see. You're catching up here. A three-peat. Are we getting a little bit ahead of ourselves there? The Habs were interested and offered on Ghost. I mean, yeah, after the year he had, making $4 million, but on a third pairing, actually performing really well, it was probably a tough contract to negotiate. Bruh, how are we doing, bruh? Oh, yeah, sure. Who did better, Dubas in Pittsburgh or Treliving in Toronto? Off the top, I'd probably say Dubas in this case. I can't say I'm entirely fond of what the Leafs are doing here, but maybe I don't know all of their moves. I've been very busy getting ready for my road trip to Montana today. Let's see here. So there was the camp extension a few days ago. Again, really long term. Although I think just defensively and face-off wise, I think he's worth the AAV. The Ryan Reeves one is confusing to me. Yeah, confusing. Maybe a year for him. Let's see here. What else do we have? Klingberg 1 year at 4 point. That's for a team that's pretty cap strapped. That's a little bit tough to swallow. Can he kind of regain his form a little bit in Toronto? I think he can certainly play better than where he was previously with, he was with Anaheim and Minnesota. I think a fresh start there should be good. And the goaltending's still the same too. Yeah. So yeah, I think Pittsburgh's done well, but the thing is that they can't be done yet. They can't be satisfied with where they are. Oh my God, they're actually over the cap now. Interesting. I mean, we got to look at those Granlund and Petrie contracts. If they can move one of those two, if not both, I think that will help. Matt Nieto, they brought him in there for defense. And who's going to be their third line center this year? Are we still asking that question? Yeah, we're still asking that question. Oh, Lars Eller. Okay, a 2-year, $2.45 million deal. That's not bad. I know he's kind of regressed, but I've liked Lars Eller quite a bit. Okay, all right. Connor Sherry to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Ryan Reeves is Auston Matthews' bodyguard. Well, yeah, I mean, assuming that Matthews stays there, right? I'm excited to see what this year brings, even if it's a terrible season. You know what, Trevor? I'm with you there, man. I miss watching the Sharks. As horrible as it was, it was fun. I think that the Karlsson season really did make that fun, though. But again, having Duclair in the lineup should make this team a little bit more exciting. We'll see which of the young talents are going to earn roster spots in the offseason. I would think that Eklund would be one of the first. Yeah, I think the Eller edition, I think that's good. I mean, is there a better option at 3C? I think so, but nah, I mean, Eller, he's been down that road before. I don't know. I think it's fine. It's not blowing my hair back, though. I talked about, at least among a few of us, I talked about him maybe being a good fit as a third line center for the Penguins. Bless you, Cortana. She just sneezed. But yeah, let's see here. Connor Sherry. Let's take a look at Connor Sherry. I got to be honest, I really haven't watched Connor Sherry in forever. So what's their situation? The Bolts are now, that's kind of steep. I mean, speaking of steep, how about Killorn's contract with the Ducks? That and the Gudis one were kind of out in left field for me. I was surprised. I was absolutely surprised. Let's take a look, though. So they still have, Sorelli, Paul, Sherry. 3 years, $2 million. Again, just maybe maybe 1 year too many. But, that's not going to sting on the books too much. Hagel's going to be an RFA next year, though. And he had a monstrous year. How many goals did Hagel score? Like 33? Let me take a look at that. And then I want to go back to Duclair, though. Brandon Hagel had 30 goals. Yeah. Monster year. Let's see here, though. Interesting. Yeah. Tampa's got a lot of veterans out there. Guys who played a while. And they still need a backup goaltender. So they're going to have to unload somebody, aren't they? They're going to have to unload one of these players. Let me know if you think you know who that's going to be. Who knows? They might have to take a few of them off the books. They kept Mikey Asimont, though. Kind of had a season out of nowhere. Anthony, what's up? The Jets haven't made moves. Yeah, that is a little surprising, just given, they still have to figure out what's happening with Scheifele and Hellebuck, but maybe they're waiting until that happens, until they get some cap space, and they understood that maybe they don't get first dibs on some of these players. But I still find that intriguing too. Where would Patrick Kane go? Asks Sarah. I don't think that they need him per se, but you got to think that Buffalo will at least kind of express some intrigue in him. Look at that. They still have some cap space there. I like what they did with their defensive depth today, adding Erik Johnson, and they also added, who else did they add here? Connor Clifton. I think that's good for them. The defensive core there is not anywhere near the tops in the NHL, but it's respectable. I still think they need themselves a number one goaltender. So instead of Patrick Kane, I'd be more concerned about them acquiring somebody like Hellebuck or John Gibson or somebody like that. Let's see here. What was the cap hit for the Sharks when bringing in Duclair? Only $3 million. That's all. 10 million a year for Killorn and Gudis. That's pretty bizarre, huh? I mean, I've always been a Killorn fan, though. The guy's a beast. And he plays well in all three zones, I think. And he had a good bounce back season too. So best of luck for him. But yeah, for the Anaheim Ducks, they had like 30 something million in cap space, but I'm surprised that those guys went over there versus trying to go to a contender. But maybe that's the idea. They spend a little bit of time there, maybe even not a full season, and then there could be another destination for them eventually. But yeah, look at that. Anaheim still has $29 million just about in salary cap. The Ryan Graves signing for 6 years, yeah, that's a little too lengthy in my book too. Jets have made some moves, just not massive moves. Mike with the 2. Thank you, my friend. Maple Leafs fans appreciate Kyle Dubas. I mean, right now for the Leafs, they are, asking some questions about big names, right? And I mean, are they content with Samsonov and Woll as their 2 goaltenders? Can they trade out Matt Murray? My Sharks are open for business on that front for sure. Thank you, Mike. I always appreciate the contributions, good sir. Ryan Donato to the Hawks. Ryan Carpenter back to the Sharks, by the way. But yeah, the Hawks have been loading up on some. Whoa, look at that draft capital for the next few years. That's ridiculous. So we've got Hall joining the team. Tyler Johnson, Spokane native, still right here. This team right here, he's still on the books for another year. Athanasiou was re-signed. That's right. Oh, God, he gets a nice payday. Let's see. Nick Foligno, 1 year, $4 million. I mean, this is a nice way for some of these guys to kind of have their farewell tour. Look at Corey Perry, $4 million. Nedeljkovic is now in Pittsburgh. Yeah, but you guys brought in James Reimer. How much of an upgrade is that? Again, if you got the Reimer from 2 years ago, then who knows? You guys could be battling for a playoff spot this year. Oh, that's an interesting point, Trevor. I just don't know if, I mean, I'd pitched this before too, but some people thought I was crazy. I thought the same thing. I said, well, could somebody else take on like $1.5 million of Karlsson's contract for 4 years? I don't know. I appreciate you raising that point, though. Good thinking. It's a little outside the box. But yeah, what have the Jets done? We got 48 people. By the way, thanks so much for joining us, guys. If anybody's new here and you want more coverage of the offseason and beyond that, I think you know what to do. Again, Darkness popping in the chat. How's Cortana? Cortana's doing fantastic. I'd show her on camera right here, but Mike dropping the 10. I'll get to you in just a second. But yeah, Cortana and I are about to take off for Montana for a few days. We're going to do some hiking, maybe some kayaking. I brought my fold-up kayak. She's going to have so much fun. And who knows, maybe just like last year, maybe we'll see a bear in the wild. Okay, Mike, dropping the 10. Can we get some love in the chat for Mike? Mr. Thompson here. Mike T, where have you been? All right, let's see here. Upset about the Sharks lately. Come to the Pen side. Oh my goodness. Now, granted, I did kind of have a soft spot for the Pittsburgh Steelers for a while there. Hey, you know what, man? Like this is great. I love having no expectations for my team. It's so relieving as I'm trying to do YouTube. It really is. Jay, and thanks, Mike. That's very kind of you. And yeah, that's the goal, Mike. My goal is to be able to come out and see you guys in person. By the way, I want to touch on what Tom Grossi recently did, flying around the country in 30 days. He went to every single NFL stadium and he raised like almost $500,000 for St. Jude. So big shout out to Grossi. That's got to be incredibly taxing, first of all, but the generosity, the humility, and his compassion toward the community, various fan communities, I think that's magnificent. So you know, I literally have my desktop background. I'll get to the point here. It's literally Tom Grossi, a tweet that he said about what it took for him working 6 years, having a job on the side, going through some other ish as well, in order to sustain himself full time on YouTube. So big ups to Grossi, and this is coming from a Vikings fan too. So anyway, but yeah, that's the goal, guys. So if you want me to have a shot at that eventually, then there are many ways that you can help me out with that. One of them is, well, doing that right there. You can become a member. I offer you additional content, additional live streams. We were doing logo rankings the past couple of weeks. We got a great group of members. It's as little as $3 a month. I also have 2 other channels that you'll see in the video description down below. I'll even play you a couple of trailers for one of my channels, Sudden Death Sports. So I need you guys to be my marketers out there because there's only so much that I can do. There's only so much the YouTube algorithm can do. So anyway, support the dream. Leave a thumbs up. That's a good place to start. All right. Andrew Cogliano stays with the Avs. Let's take a look at that deal for ACOG. And Jay, I do like the Clifton signing and even the Erik Johnson signing, the kind of that bottom pairing. That's pretty solidified with those two, don't you think? I still think they need some work in goal, getting, at least a 1A goaltender, but I like what the Sabres are doing. And this deal here with Cogliano, 1 year at under $1 million. Well, that's a steal. And I like what Joe Sakic has done so far. Getting Ross Colton, we'll have to see what the terms of that deal are, and getting that second rounder or that pick that became essentially Mikhail Gulyayev or whatever his name is. Yeah, I like that quite a bit in exchange for Newhook. That was really smart thinking. So big ups to Joe Sakic there. All right. I'm loving the Duke trade, says Nick. You've been a big fan of his for a long time. Now bring in Max Domi. You would want the Sharks to invest in him. I mean, I'm hoping that we can maybe take on a bad contract for more draft capital, but I wouldn't be upset as long as, I just don't want him taking away a roster spot from somebody like, a Thomas Bordeleau or William Eklund or something like that. All right. I'm sorry. I got to scroll down to the bottom. You guys are asking some fantastic questions. Grossi was a beast. Exactly. A Malkin card. Hey, that's right. Minnesota, just a couple of depth moves. Yeah, it's obviously a very tight cap situation for Guerin, so I'm not surprised. Thank you, Riley. Yeah, that's my favorite place in the country, so I'm gonna have a great time over there. Let's take a look. A favorite goal horn in the ECHL. You know what? I have not studied up on my ECHL goal horns. I can't answer that right now. I just don't know who it would be. Hopefully, it would be the Steelheads or the Solar Bears, though. Kerfoot going to Arizona, 3.5 years, $3.5 million for 2 years. You know what? Phenom. I said this in an MVPs video. Don't be surprised if not this next season, but the year after. I think Arizona could actually be pretty good. I do. I almost said that like Owen Wilson. But yeah, I strangely like what the Coyotes are doing. Maybe that first round of the draft aside. But yeah, they might have something brewing there. I don't know. Andre Tournier did a good job with them last year. How do I like the pick of Quentin Musty? Oh, cool. I I haven't studied him or anything like that, but I mean, there's a lot of excitement around him. I mean, that's been considered maybe their best draft pick or one of the better kind of not value picks of the first round, but sort of I don't know. They were very opportunistic to draft him. And the thing is that the Sharks needed to get bigger at the wing. So I like this quite a bit from that standpoint. I wonder if you know anybody who knows him. An idea for a member stream? Yeah. Please keep it coming. Drop in the mod chat. Okay. Sounds good. Where do I want to see Karlsson end up? I kind of want to see him end up with the Kraken, honestly. They haven't been very active in free agency. And maybe that's by design because Captain Ron Francis, he doesn't want to be overly aggressive. Considering I posed this in a previous video. I said, look, it was a great season for the Kraken, but who is this core going forward besides Beniers and who's at the bottom of my forwards group here and Jared McCann? Look at McCann. And then afterwards, you have some guys at 3 years, but look at that. Jaden Schwartz will be 34. Bjorkstrand will be 31. Yanni Gord will be 33. So the idea here is, who are your other young talents that are going to help you sustain the success you've already had? That's a big factor for the Kraken. So if Francis doesn't want to be aggressive in free agency, I totally understand why. But that being said, do they have room for Erik Karlsson? And I think they do. They have their draft picks, which is good. They do need some help. They do need help in goal, though. That's true. Yeah. What? DeBrincat, I know, right? It's high time. All aboard the Iser train. All right, Coyotes got Zucker. Yeah, so they got Zucker and Kerfoot. Interesting. This team's going to be pretty competitive next year. I mean, they could jump a couple spots in the standings, maybe. I don't know. It's been forever that Arizona was good. Catch you later, Trevor. Hey, you have yourself a good weekend, and hey, we got something we could kind of be happy about. Wrestling. Rick rocking the goat head. Hell yeah. Shane Wright for Karlsson. Sure. Why not? We'll take a draft pick as part of that too. But yeah. Dumo. Who got Dumoulin? I forgot who got Dumoulin. Not the Coyotes, did they? But how's Idaho? It's warm. It is not hot though. It's about to get hot. But that's why I'm ducking out to Montana. It'll be 5 degrees colder. Cooler, I should say. Maddie, oh God, Jay-Z. No, I don't think that they're going to be doing that. As their top prospect, I don't think they're willing to part with Matty Beniers. We would gladly take him, but the thing is that what we need even more is that standout defenseman. We don't really have that just yet. We have some, potential second and third pairing defensemen. The Luca Cagnoni draft pick, I'm very intrigued to see what he can do. I really like this young man. He's very humble, but you can tell he's just grinning ear to ear at the opportunity to play in the NHL. 98 in Boise. Woo! All right, Mitch. Who's my favorite team? It's these guys right here, the San Jose Sharks. Lifetime Sharks fan. So that's why I wanted to be live to talk about Duclair here. No, you got your team rankings. 76 in South Jersey. Yeah, I'd love for it to be 76 right now, but it's not that bad. Let's see here. What is it right now? It is 85. Okay. Could be worse. All right. THG Wicked 50 Cal. That's an interesting name. What's going on? Hey, I'm actually excited for the Sharks because we got Anthony Duclair. He's always been a fun player to watch on a breakaway in transition. In 490 games, he's averaging at least a point every other game. That's good. He's actually a plus 47 in his career, strangely. I know that doesn't mean a whole lot. But yeah, that adds somebody to the top 6. My only kind of concern here is, can we make sure that the young guys on our team, the real young guys, Thomas Bordalo, William Eklund, right? He plays the same role. Can those guys still get the time that they need to develop this year, get some opportunities around our veterans? Greer hooking the brothers up. Yeah, man. Mike Greer. I'm starting to kind of turn a corner a bit. I still think he needs to take on a bad contract to get some good draft picks, but a step forward in the right direction. The Sharks, their draft has been graded among the better clubs in the NHL. It's around, they're saying the Sharks, had maybe one of the best 5 or 6 drafts out there. So I'm thrilled about that. Yeah, what are the Panthers going to do? So tactical nuke, the speculation from, esteemed media sources has been that they would potentially look to get a defenseman like Noah Hannafin, who isn't looking like he's going to sign in Calgary. You also have another 1 or 2 defensemen on the Flames who will be UFAs, some big bodies out there like Nikita Zadorov. So that could be a trade that we could see. However, Duclair was speculated to be that piece that could have gone back to the Flames. So I still think that that's the direction that the Panthers should be going. They've been quiet otherwise for the most part. All right, let's take a look here. Biggest surprise, biggest disappointment. I mean, right away, the O'Reilly signing did surprise me. Disappointment in terms of like who left or what kind of deal somebody got. Man, there are a lot of contracts to consider here. I'll have to open this up. I mean, that Ryan Graves signing, I think that's too fat of a deal. I think that's taking the bait a little bit too much. Also, the Korpisalo signing, I like that Ottawa is being aggressive here, but I think that there's better value out there. If you have to pay $1 million more to get a better deal, a better, more consistent goaltender than Korpisalo, I think that would have been worth waiting. Nick, what's going on? How you doing, man? I know that you were live for free agency earlier today. And by the way, guys, I'm gonna shout out Nick here from Windy City Hockey. You want to know everything going on with Connor Bedard? This is my channel right here, Windy City Hockey. He'll be talking Connor Bedard for the next 15 plus years. Big Blackhawks fan. Go over to his channel. Let's get him to 1,000 subscribers. He is on the doorstep, unless he already got there during the draft. There's your plug there, Nick. Adding guys to protect the smaller ones. I'm sorry for which team? You'll have to remind me here. Lots of good chat messages here to digest. Kyle from Chicago is the best GM. He's doing well so far. Oh, there's a video online about that. Okay. All right, catch you later, Dan. Montana will be good to me, I'm sure. Let's see here. Why would EK want to be reunited with Burns? Exactly. That's why I didn't think that the Hurricanes would do that. And they've already made a couple of signings today to where, especially that Orlov signing. I made a video about that, by the way, guys. Check out my Dmitry Orlov signing video. Yeah, that really did surprise me that they did that specifically. I don't think that they would want Karlsson unless they're gonna haul Brett Pesce somewhere else. Then maybe, but the two can't play together. If Slavin and Burns want to play together and Shea wants to play with Karlsson, God, that would be just a lethal second pairing, first of all. But yeah, I wouldn't see the two playing together. I just don't think that the Hurricanes need Karlsson. They really don't. I like the Bunting signing. I think Bertuzzi would have been a better fit, but I'll take Bunting. Let's see here. Edmonton hasn't tried to get a new goalie just yet. I don't think that they need to. I don't think that's among their chief needs. I think the goaltending needs to be better, yes. But I mean, Skinner was his first full year in the NHL. And I do attribute that somewhat to the defensive structure. They got to sign Bouchard, by the way. Tight cap situation. Karlsson to the Penguins. I mean, hey, if that breaks on my trip, I hope that I'm able to go live or do something for it. I'm going to bring some of my gear just in case. But most of my time is going to be on the trails. Or maybe even in the water. Oh, and they thought he was a Blackhawks fan? That's hilarious. All right, Wyatt. This is a great question. What grade am I going to give the Sharks off season so far? I think there's work still to be done, but I'm kind of going toward like B plus. Maybe more a B, just because I don't want any of the new signings to take away spots from our young prospects. Like William Eklund could be playing with the Sharks all of next season. I don't know. I think that he's got immense talent out there from what I saw. Quarterbacking a power play, he pretty much is already capable of doing that at the NHL level. So yeah, but the draft for them went really well. They haven't taken any big swings at free agents. This Duclair trade is really good too. So yeah, I'm like, okay, we got more to do. We need to get more draft assets. That's what's missing here. And of course, if they can trade Karlsson, and not eat up too much salary, or at least get something good in return if they do eat up a lot of salary, then yeah, we're talking about A- range easily. But this is a good step forward for my Sharks. Karlsson and Letang together, boy, I'd be hard pressed to see them actually know how to play together in their own zone. All right. Be careful, kayaking. Thank you, Riley. Yeah. I don't even know if I'll go out there for sure, but I'm bringing my stuff just in case. Cortana has a life vest too, so she'll be safe. 56 people still hanging out. Thank you so much, guys. It's fantastic to have you here. Let's take a look here. John. Yeah, John from Off the Wall. John and I have collaborated a few times before. Definitely, always a mutual support for each other's channels. He's been. It sucks that he hasn't been able to get to as much content, and I understand just how taxing YouTube can be. But yeah, John's a good dude. Hey guys, real quick, I'm actually going to play a trailer from one of my videos on my other channels. I just dropped this today, so. If you like what I have to provide here, that's one thing, but I do have some content outside of this as well. So this is one of my other channels. It's called Sudden Death Sports. And this is a video on the most cursed teams in sports today. This is just a 1-minute teaser. So I'm going to play this and then I'll come right back to the program. Many of the greatest stories in sports have come from breaking decades-long curses. But there are some professional franchises that, if you're a real diehard, will take years off your life. They keep coming up with new ways to rip your heart out. They're mired in controversy, and they trade away your favorite players. And meanwhile, hated rivals, pompous expansion teams, and those lightning-in-a-bottle lucky sons of b****s have a taste of what you've craved for decades. Are you a fan of a team like this? As someone in the same boat, I've wondered what you have. How do we keep choosing to support these teams? How come those other fans that have it oh so good not had to suffer like us? Why can't we just win it all once before we're wiped off this earth? Cheering for these teams, only to experience the same result year after year, has driven us to the point of literal insanity. These are the most cursed teams in sports today. All right, again, that is the newest upload on Sudden Death Sports. So you can watch it right here. So newest upload from Sudden Death Sports. You can go check that out. My goal there is to put out 2 features on that channel a month covering beyond hockey. But of course, I'm always going to take whatever opportunity I can to talk about hockey there. We're going to be talking about some long time cursed NHL franchises in that video. You like the veteran moves for the Hawks? Yeah, why not? Why not? Give them a nice little retirement bonus there, right? If they don't have enough prospects right now, then go for it, right? You're a fan of one of those teams, the Cardinals. Yep. Now the question is, were they one of my finalists when I talked about football teams? So you'll have to check that out. But you know what? You can't deny it. The Cardinals have been cursed a long time. Yeah, Jay-Z. I had to put that one in there. The Knights were a lightning in a bottle team. I don't know. I mean, look at who their best players were. Like Eichel and Stone were their best players. Granted, so was Adin Hill. I think he caught lightning in a bottle, but like I said, I would not be surprised if they challenge again next year. Why am I a Sharks fan? Do I live in San Jose? I used to. I grew up in that area. So yeah, I've been a fan for decades. But yeah, now I live in North Idaho, basically Spokane. You're a fan of the Knicks, Jets, and Isles? Oh my God. That's okay. I'll just preface it this way. Because I think that you can make a case for all of them. This is how hard it was to actually narrow it down to 3 finalists per league. But you could easily make a case. King of the Surf is back in the chat here. Marchie was one of the better. Yeah, Marchessault, of course, too. And Marchessault, one of the greater playoff performances in recent years from somebody who was undrafted. Do I like Idaho potatoes? You know what's funny is that apparently most of the potatoes that we consume here in our state are actually not from Idaho. I don't know. That's what I heard. Corey Perry's not going to win or not going to wear number 10. Oh, hell no. No. That's not going to happen. But you don't think the Knights would get anywhere near the cup for a while. I mean, I thought that maybe this was going to be their last year to do it. But yeah, when Eichel has taken his game back to that level that we saw in Buffalo before, his herniated disc really surfaced. Yeah, that was a scary player that we saw back then. Boy. All right, great. 57 people still here. Hey, guys, let me know if you hear any more on the front of rumors and that sort of thing and signings. Let's take a look here. Duke and a 5th for a big 4th line guy. Yeah, so Jaws Flying Fluffy here, one of the closest friends of the channel here. He's on the wrong side of this. I understand, though, it's for cap relief, but only $3 million for Duclair. For the Sharks, that's a really nice piece in their lineup, even if we're not contending this year. What? The Islanders have re-signed Pierre Engvall to 7 years? How does Lou Lamoriello keeping work? What is this? Pierre Engvall for 7 years? What? Look, I like Engvall. He was a good fit over there in a short time, but 7 years? Am I seeing that right? At $3 million, like if you gave him a 3x3, that's a good deal for him. 7 years with a modified no trade clause? Are you kidding me? How can we take the Islanders seriously? I like what they did with, keeping their goaltenders happy. That's cool. But this is lunacy. Mayfield got 7 years too? What? I do not understand this whatsoever. It's like Lamoriello doesn't understand that you actually need a star player who's not a goaltender. I know they have good, capable defensemen out there, but you got to trim the fat. Look at all these deals that they signed for players like Paul Mary. Still got $2 million or 2 years left. I like Cizikas, but 4 more years of him, that's a little steep. These contracts to Martin and Clutterbuck when they're in their mid-30s, it's just bonkers, man. Lou hates the island confirmed. I mean, God, he was pretty successful with the Devils, so you can tell where his allegiances lie these days, huh? Yeah, all of that is just bogus to me, man. So weird. I appreciate you guys sticking around as I react to this madness here, man. The tendency to carry them to a cup needs to better build around Sorokin. Exactly. Hey, there's nothing wrong with having your goaltender as the best player on your team. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you don't have the firepower to go with it, when your idea of bolstering your power play consists of a 7-year term for Pierre Engvall, to me, that just makes no sense. Yeah, these are terrible moves. Now, granted, I'm going to eat my words a little bit. When I look at the Kraken, for example, they're actually built fairly similarly. But somehow they were able to get everybody to score 17, 18 goals this year. And the Islanders, Barzal, have we already seen Barzal at his ceiling? Or what if you actually gave him, an actual sniper up there, right? No one has talked about Blake Wheeler. I think one reason is because his cap hit is only going to be like $800,000. So it's kind of like, okay. But, the Rangers haven't exactly, they haven't really gotten any stronger, I don't think. I'm not exactly sold on what they've done recently. I mean, we got to see what happens with Lafreniere, right? He's the RFA to be signed in the forward group, and Keandre Miller. And as I said before, they have $6 million in cap space. Those two players are going to get way over $6 million together, combined. And their goaltender's their backup is Jonathan Quick. I mean, I almost think you need a third goaltender. He's excited to have Couture leading the young guys. Okay. I mean, I'm just glad that maybe he could actually have Duclair on his wing if he wants. Actually have a competent winger. But yeah, if he plays with Eklund or if Eklund plays with Hurdle, hey, that's great. The Islanders needed to bring it. Exactly. Somebody was talking about that earlier today. That would have been great. I think that would have been a good fit. Maybe not a great fit, but I mean that would have helped the Islanders at least temporarily while they think that they're in this cup contention window. Bob got hot in the playoffs. They didn't bring Lyon back. Yeah, I mean you would have to think that they're going to place some faith there in Spencer Knight because he's under contract. I think for 3 more years. Hunter, what's going on? How you doing? We're rocking the Saquon Barkley profile pick, if I'm correct here. The East could pass over the Rangers. Yeah, I'm not entirely sold on what the Rangers are doing so far. Lucic to the Bruins. There's another one, right? The Bruins are not doing themselves any favors, I don't think. The Van Riemsdyk signing, I will credit them. Only $1 million, but I wonder, do they think that they're going to bring back Bergeron and Krejci? Because otherwise, their number one center is Pavel Zacha. He played well this last year, right? That was on that line with Krejci and Pasternak, right? Or am I getting that confused with somebody else? But yeah, I thought it was an all-check line that was working out well for them. But yeah, I'm curious to see how much Swayman's deal is going to be. But they do have some cap space after trading Taylor Hall, so that does help. But I don't think this is enough for them just yet because center's not a void, but it's a downgrade if you don't have Bergeron in there. Shane Gostisbehere is a Red Wing. Yeah, that's a good deal. Is Bill Guerin on vacation today? Asks Mark. Good question. Well, I think that the expectation for the Wild was to kind of stand pat. Honestly, they might have to take a step backward to take a step forward in 2 years because look at that. You've got $15 million tied up, nearly $15 million tied up in Parise and Suter. So there's only so much they can do. They do have $8 million, but if I'm the Wild, I'm looking more. If you want to contend now, you got to get a number one center out there. Do you have the cap space to do it? Yes. Were there free agents available for that? Not so much. So I'm curious to see if they're looking to maybe deal either some draft capital or one of their great prospects and get that void filled if they want to actually, be one of the contenders in the Western Conference. You're going to get a Connor Bedard jersey. Oh, hell yeah. Hell, I want to get a Connor Bedard jersey. Bruins aging out. It does have some traction. Yeah, we have to subdue our expectations for the Islanders or turn them completely upside down. Let's take a look. The Reeves deal, maybe a year. I don't know. I know he had an impact on the Wild, for a lot of their season. And this is my bias as a Sharks fan, but I don't like Reeves. I liked him with Pittsburgh though, strangely. Yeah. All right. We've reached a pause in the program. So, guys, let me know if you have any more questions about potential, free agency signings or trades that we could see. But yeah, look at that. Anaheim getting Gudis and Killorn for 4 years apiece. So weird. Calgary hasn't been able to do anything. Completely understandable. Their bigger concerns lie with Elias Lindholm. And considering Hannafin and Backlund don't look like they're coming back. Get yourself a nice, yeah, Riley. At the least, you got to see if you can get a nice jersey or get one with the Stanley Cup patch. I'm sure you'll definitely want to get one of those. Who got leaps and bounds better? Okay. Let's see. I would say the Pacific Division seems pretty stagnant today specifically. Arizona, they're going to be a competitive team. And look at all that draft capital. That's insane. So look at this forward group. Keller, Schmaltz, Zucker, Kraus, Kerfoot, Bugstad. Oh, they brought in Bugstad. I liked how he played for the Oilers. And I know he used to play for the Coyotes. Hayton took a step forward last year. And they got Michelli. Okay. I mean, that looks a lot better than where it was going into this past season. And I really like the Dursey signing. That was a great move. They only gave up a second rounder for him. I like that a lot. Okay, it's not incredibly talented on the back side of things, but Soderstrom, he's only going to get better. Goaltending is not great, but it's very affordable. They're doing pretty well. Look at that. They still have $16 million in cap space. So the Coyotes are a team I have to talk about. I like Duchesne to the Stars. Because look at that. Only 1 year at $3 million. I mean, he's collecting a great paycheck from the Predators, but that is a sneaky good move. So the Stars, again, I talked about them many times. And that's, they're a team that could either win now or, their best players, except for Pavelski, are like 26 and under. And they've got a couple of good prospects too, who can make an impact in 2 or 3 years. So I think the Stars picking up Duchesne, I think that's one of the better signings we've seen. He knows that division well too. I mean, the Hurricanes got better. I don't necessarily agree with the specific moves, but they did get better, even though they lose Gostisbehere to free agency. Let's see here. Who else? Penguins made some moves. Capitals got Pacioretty for really cheap, and they got Joel Edmondson. They did have to give up a third rounder. Edmondson didn't have a very good season though. Buffalo, I like what they did to the bottom defense. Detroit, look, if they want to be competitive and make the playoffs, they should just roll the dice and go for it. Plain and simple. But yeah, those are probably the teams that jump out first to me. I'd like to make a video on this if I somehow find time, but I gotta really kick back and relax for a little bit. Oh yeah, that's right. Your girlfriend's a Flyers fan. 58 people. Well, you had about 60 people here. Fantastic. The Morgan Geekie signing. I wonder where he's going to play though. I would think he's going to be fourth line over there, right? Especially if Bergeron and Krejci come back, unless they want to make him a winger, I guess. There you go, Riley. I think that's good thinking, man. You've probably thought about that for a few years, so go for it. How do I feel about Eller? I like Eller. He is getting a little bit long in the tooth. I don't know if he's going to be a third line center for them. They could use a little bit more oomph there. But if you want him on the fourth line, I think that's a fine spot for him. But he'll probably be third line. Defensive situation. They have Shane Gostisbehere. I mean, that's a good signing. He had a really good year with the Hurricanes, and he was playing third pairing with Jalen Chatfield. That was like the best third pairing in the NHL last year. Sorry. Freudian slip. I am a Hurricanes supporter. I'm almost at that point now where I can just tell people I'm a Hurricanes fan. But yeah, let's take a look here. Sherratt, Gostisbehere, Hull. Yeah, that one I'm a little suspicious about. And a modified no trade clause. 21 team no trade list. Yo, whoever his agent is, that guy is a boss. Wallman, Sider, and of course, you've got Edvinsson as well, right? So how good are they actually in their own zone, right? The two young guys can get it done. Mata, sure. Sherratt, I used to be quite the Sherratt fan. Is that going to help you get into the playoffs overall? It could. It's still kind of an area where they can upgrade, or it's a position where 2 years from now, Mo and Simon, where those guys are potentially, the top two for them, right? That's at least what I would expect for right now. And then that becomes more of a sustainable defensive core. And they're not the only guys in the system either, right? I don't know. Trying to put on my Red Wings hat for that one. I'm not the best versed. Very passionate group of fans, as I found out on my channel. Coyote signing Kerfoot. Yeah, they're going to be competitive. The Hawks improved? Oh, yeah. I mean, they absolutely improved. I just don't think that they're going to be... I can't imagine them not finishing... I don't know. Could they finish ahead of the Jets? Maybe. Kraken lost some important guys. Yeah, they lost Daniel Sprong, right? And Carson Soucy, by the way. I've always liked Soucy, especially when he was in Minnesota. St. Louis has been quiet. Yeah. That's interesting considering they just got Kevin Hayes. So I do find that quite interesting. They need work on defense. The Penguins, are they done? How much cap do they have? Penguins have So yeah, my thought about that, Mr. Sarka, is that if they're not done, they'll need to move out one or two of their veteran contracts. Petrie and Granlund are the best opportunities. So I would love for my Sharks to be a broker for you guys to take those contracts and get some of those draft picks of yours. And then that way you can make some further moves if you want. Let's see here. But you're liking Dubas so far? Marchessault. Oh, God, that's it. Well, wait, you already have Marchessault, right, Riley? So if that's the case, then I think you could get either Eichel or Stone. You know what? Eichel was exceptional, but Mark Stone, he's a real one. I think you should get Mark Stone. And he's a captain too. Yeah, I agree with Mike. There we go. EK65 and the Hurricanes? Did he? I remember him saying that after the Orlov signing, they're still in the mix for Karlsson. I'm hard pressed though. Oh my God, are you serious? Are you serious right now, Pierre? Don't make me even more of a Hurricanes fan. Unbelievable. And Brent Burns is furious. Slavin and Karlsson would just be that would just break the internet, basically. I don't know why Don Waddell feels the need to do this after Orlov is a 7.75 cap hit for next year and the year after. 7.75 million. He's paid higher than Jacob Slavin. He's paid higher technically than Brent Burns on their books, even though Burns earns $8 million aggregate. Unbelievable. I could see him in Seattle potentially, but this right here, this is nuts, man. Absolutely bonkers. I have no idea how that's happening. Oh, well, thank you, Riley. That's nice of you. I mean, I think you're tooting my own horn a little bit too much, though. Do I plan to stream more over the next few days? I won't, because I'll be in Montana, off the grid for most of it. However, it's not entirely out of the question. I will have my gear with me in case if Karlsson gets traded, I got to find a way to do something. So maybe it might not be the most timely, but I'd love to, take advantage of that opportunity. But a good question. Speaking of Mark Stone, I see 61 people here in the chat. Thank you, guys. It's awesome chatting with you here. If Burns goes back to San Jose, that would be hilarious. That would be so funny. But I wouldn't be entirely surprised. Burns and Karlsson, best friends forever. Yeah, they were good, but even though they didn't work out as a pair or as, on the power play together, they still really are good friends with each other. So that's cool. On the Comfer signing, I am a big Timothy fan. I think that he was over the last 3 or 4 years, he was kind of an unsung hero for the Avalanche. They had times when they had big injuries, and he stepped in there and he played as well as he needed to help carry, help sort of further them along and keep them as a contender, chalking up dubs. I am a fan. I like the edge that he plays with. He scored some clutch goals in the playoffs. I think he got a fat contract though. Basically a 5x5. I could have seen that for 3 years, but for 5 years, that does kind of surprise me. But he's in the prime of his career. I wish him all the best. He's been one of my favorite players to follow over the last few years. Torio, what's going on? Speaking of Comfer and the Red Wings, McKinnon. Wait, did they get Drouin? Really? But yeah, that'd be hilarious if Burns was part of the deal for Karlsson. If Marchessault got traded to the Sharks, no. That would never happen. That would never happen. San Jose would not allow him to set foot in the Shark Tank wearing teal. That would never happen. But I'd be excited though, actually, because I mean, let's be honest, he's fun to watch. I like that he hits people. The Penguins were hard on Erik Karlsson. Yeah, right now they would have to really move out those 2 contracts with Granlund and Petrie. Colorado fan, it's a huge overpay, but good for JT. They were barely at the cap floor. Well, look at this now, Nathan. They've shrunk their cap space to okay, it's still at $9 million. Wow, that's surprising. Next year is going to be interesting for them, though. A couple of those veterans are going to come off the books. Perron, I like Kubalik, but he might be expendable at that point. Sprong was also a 1-year signing. That was good. I still think, though, that goaltending tandem of Reimer and Husso, I'm not a big fan of that. I like Husso. Husso in his sweet spot to me is a 1B. He can be a 1A, but yeah. Reimer, I hope that Reimer can play like he did 2 years ago, not this last year. He was bad. But he was awesome on a bad Sharks team back in 21-22. Yeah, not even 900,000 for Drouin. It's a good value buy. I think the Avs had decent cap space going into this. I am a fan of getting in Ross Colton. Oh, wait, they're basically at the cap right now. But that doesn't... we have to consider that they'll be without Landeskog, and we don't know what's going to happen with Nichushkin. Boy, it sucks because I'm a big Nichushkin fan. I love his defensive play on top of what he's been able to do developing offensively. Where's Tarasenko going to go? Where is Tarasenko going to go? Shoot, Detroit might have cap for him. Buffalo doesn't need him. Florida just lost Duclair, but they're in a tight cap situation. What about Ovechkin and Tarasenko on the same line? What about that? I'm not a huge fan of their if they can move out Kuznetsov and get Tarasenko, could you guys see that happening? I've heard crazier things. Hannafin's a big name to watch in the offseason for sure. Mike's not a fan. Sabres are going to ride with Devin Levi and the greatest name in the NHL these days, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, next year. UPL would be subject to waivers and no way he clears. Huh. I mean, I wouldn't think that they would be hell-bent on making the playoffs with that tandem. Those are 2 young goaltenders. UPL did get some games under his belt last year, but I don't know, man. Tarasenko, Larkin, and Raymond. Like I said, the Red Wings do have some cap. You don't think the Caps will move Kuznetsov, even though he's requested a trade, or at least he wouldn't comment when the Russian media asked if he wanted to trade. Tarasenko to Chicago. That'd be wild. Where will Bertuzzi end up? Back with Detroit? Well, let's take a look here. Is there opportunity? There could be, but I don't know. That would be bananas to me, man. Because I think he's looking for like an 8x8. Yeah, Phenom. Seattle's really intriguing. Very intriguing. Because again, like, what is the core of that team going forward? Besides Beniers, and you can say McCann, and you can say Vince Dunn, assuming that he stays. I don't think that their core right now, looking at this roster, is strong enough when you look at 2 or 3 years from now. So that's why I'm not sure if they would roll the dice by making a big move in free agency, even though they have cap space. And you would think, Shane, right? You know, I'm talking about what you see in front of us right now, though. You're going to build on cap friendly. Wow. That's going to probably take up a good chunk of your evening. But cap friendly is a remarkable tool, isn't it? All right. Guys, I hate to cut this short, but my stomach is growling, and I got to make sure I get a nice rest ahead for my Montana road trip. So again, hey, thanks for hanging out with me here. Hopefully I find some way to either go live or get another video out. I wouldn't count on it for the next few days while I'm on my road trip. But even that being said, I'll come right back. We'll have more content. There is other content to be produced and uploaded on our other hockey channel. That is Sudden Death Hockey. I think that I mentioned it here in the video description. So go check that out if you haven't already. Do leave a thumbs up, because that does help my channel attract more viewers like yourselves. And again, as you saw earlier, we do have that channel, Sudden Death Sports, for a couple of interesting sports features every month. So, hey, thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Nice chatting with you here. And Phenom, of course, thanks for, hanging out with us earlier today. Connor Bedard's going to get traded. No. He's the face of a franchise that needs to build itself from the ground up. So I could not see that happening. All right. So anyway, guys, you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Happy Canada Day, of course, to everybody north of the border. Happy 4th of July for those in the States here. And I'll talk to you again real soon. Cortana, you want to say goodbye? Cortana needs to say goodbye. Come here. Oh, say goodbye, girl. Say goodbye. Oh, all right. Have a good one, guys.